in suspiciosa mi crea un punto. Goddamn son of a good!
Vadarya Prime is an interesting gun, but Warframe is a horde shooter, which makes weapons like sniper rifles inefficient, even if they have AoE. But there is another problem. The trigger mechanism requires you to charge it, or, as I say, edging it to not fire prematurely. Even then, I find myself in situations where everything is already dead, or I'm struggling to get a headshot in. So, instead of trying to make every shot count, I turned it into a machine gun. I present you Lightningmaxxing. The wiki throws a bunch of percentages at you, but all you need to know is upon damaging an enemy, there's a 70% chance to trigger between 1 and 3 lightning strikes on enemies within 10 meters of the target hit. If it fails to do this 3 times in a row, the E themselves will strike them down, but the chances of that is only 2.7%. So more often than not, lightning will strike the enemy, which means we want a reasonable amount of multi-shot and punch through. To see what I mean by reasonable, let's use some numbers. From Galvanized Chamber and the new Arcane, Primary Charge, we can achieve a multi-shot of 6.8. Now, if we punch through 4 targets, this means we're going to roll for lightning 27 times. With the 70% chance, on average, over many spent magazines, we should expect about 19 of those rolls to proc lightning. If you're lucky enough, you might even see a staggering 81 lightning strikes. And of course, fire rate just makes this more possible. Unless you enjoy playing with motion sickness, I would also recommend getting a Riven with minus zoom. Yes, minus zoom. Otherwise, just mod for more damage. If you're not camping a corridor, the punch through is rather situational, as most of the time, maybe 1 or 2 enemies are in line of sight. But this can be solved by our Warframe of choice, which, if you haven't guessed by now, Gauss. He will be further buffing our fire rate and reload speed by building duration, but most importantly, his augment mod crash provides grouping. If this build hasn't lobotomized you, it now requires you to run into walls, which most Gauss mains already do. As for the remaining mods, we will require Archon Flow and 5 Tau Force Archon shards to achieve 1000 energy for primary overcharges, 350 multi-shot. You'll also be needing Equilibrium to maintain the energy requirement for the Arcane. This is personal preference, but with high duration, I'm going to replace kinetic plating with Evade, and forego strength in favor of range for the augment. Now, if all the conditions are right, we can see something like this. If you thought I was left clicking this entire time, you'd be wrong. I'm not modding for arthritis. With this macro, if I aim down sight for 0.3 seconds, the gun will fire itself repeatedly every 0.1 seconds. Simple enough. However, I want to warn you that some macros are bannable, but I'm requiring that I hold down a button. In general, if a macro allows you to AFK, then you're probably going to be banned. As you can see, this is not that kind of macro. So, DE, please no ban. But if you want to play it safe, then you can bind shooting to the scroll wheel or use an auto clicker, which basically what this is. Unless you have finished the tutorial and have nothing better to do, I would not recommend this build. There are many other weapons that require less investment and perform way better, and doesn't require third-party software to enable it. Now, you would think that with this much fire rate, we would run out of ammo fairly quickly. Surprisingly, this is not the case, because
Is attempting to purge you from this place. Stand by for it.